Just over 12 months ago, DJI released an FPV digital system which has changed the industry. It was inevitable that eventually they'd release an FPV quad, and it looks like it's imminent. Hi, I'm Ash from Droning On, and if you enjoy these kind of breaking news videos, then hit that subscribe button below. Anyway, just now we've been sent two images which look very interesting. We don't know the original source of these images, but it's speculated that they've leaked from somebody who was a beta tester, probably under NDA, and so somebody's going to get their wrists slapped. In addition, the DJI leaked website Kanhaji has just also shared a third image, so now we've got a really good look at this product that's going to be imminently arriving from DJI. So taking a look at the first image, we've got very clearly a brand new product here, labelled with DJI on the base, and it's quite clearly not the average looking drone. This is clearly some kind of test model, and it's sat on somebody's desk. From the translation or the language that we can see on the desktop, we can see that it's probably in Chinese. Also look at the temperature, it's 28.9 degrees. It's certainly never that hot at this time of the year in Sweden. There's what looks like a large heatsink on the rear, and that's probably most likely to keep the speed controllers nice and cool, because FPV quads generally tend to get much hotter than your average drone. We've got a set of brushless motors, and it does look like there are screw-on props for this, which makes sense because we'll have a look at the other image in a minute, which shows three-bladed props. On an FPV quad, you don't see folding props, so it's not a surprise that we're not going to be seeing the usual quick-release folding props of other DJI drones. There's a lot of paperwork stuck onto this, and it does look to me that this is actually a QA quality assurance checklist to make sure that the drone is functioning and performs as it's expected to. You can see that there are lots of ticks going through these checkboxes, probably as they've confirmed each element has tested successfully or been programmed successfully. This image doesn't give away a lot more, but look how solid those arms are. It's clearly evident that DJI are aware that people crash FPV quads quite often. When you're flying an FPV quad in the air, you do smash them up quite a lot. And generally, the first things to break are the props, the camera, or the arms. Now, with the stability and size of these arms on this quad, it looks like this thing will take quite a pounding. And that's very positive because it's not going to be cheap, this quad. And therefore, it's good to know that if you do crash it, you're probably not going to be breaking it permanently. Now, from this image, we don't get a view of the camera on the front, just a little bit of it. And just from that insight, it looks a little bit overly exposed to me, especially if you do crash this, but we'll see more in the next photo. So this one is really the game changer. It's clearly a box, and it shows a DJI headset on there. That's the brand new digital FPV headset, as well as a brand new controller in the typical DJI grey colour. And it looks very, very much like the FR Sky X Lite controller that we use and love. Very game style controller, and that will definitely be very popular. But then sat over on the right hand side, we've got the FPV quad here. Now there's a lot of interesting aspects to this. First of all, if you look at the camera, you can see that it's clearly on a gimbal of some sort. Now, I don't expect this gimbal to be supporting roll or yaw, but it certainly looks like this has a pitch axis. When you're flying an FPV quad, you're generally flying at speed, and therefore the drone is at this kind of angle. Now, if the camera's fixed, you're just going to be seeing the ground. But if you're able to tilt the camera up and down, mainly up on an FPV quad, then as the drone is flying like this, the camera's facing forward. Now, with a variable pitch gimbal, it means that as you evolve your FPV skills, you can tilt that camera up higher and higher and higher, because the faster you're going, the more the quad is pitching forward, and therefore the higher the angle of the camera. If this can be adjusted electronically, then that's a really cool feature. We can also see what looks like another heatsink for air intake at the front of the drone, but there's some very interesting aspects looking down here at the bottom. Now, I find it very hard to believe that these could be obstacle avoidance cameras or sensors, but who knows? They do want to target this FPV quad at beginners, I'm sure, and therefore beginners are going to need a lot of help with FPV because it's not easy the first time you try. As mentioned earlier, we've also got fixed three-bladed props, and they do look to be screw-on, so don't expect quick release here. And the final image really is the interesting one. We'll take a look at that now. Again, it's another interior box view, and here we clearly see the DJI headset nice and proudly sitting there. It's really, really pretty, that device. And in front of it is the DJI FPV quad. We can see here that the cover appears to be clear, and that's an interesting feature. It looks like there is actually a fan there, and that's largely because this is going to get very hot. It's interesting that they chose the clear plastic, however. I'm not really sure of that decision. I'm sure there's a good reason why. So this is very interesting. The fact that these images leaked and were sent to us does show that they're out in the wild already and they're clearly being tested. Now, when images like this arrive, it normally means that the release is probably 2 to 3 weeks away. So that's actually late for Christmas. And on that basis, I don't think it's going to arrive that soon. I would expect this to arrive either in the next few days or next year. This is a very new product for DJI. Although they engineered the FPV system and it's been a great success, they haven't at this time engineered a quad like this. The price point really is going to be key here because the FPV system retails over $600, I believe, last time I looked, and that's quite expensive for most consumers for just the headset and camera system. This all-in-one package, I worry, may arrive at about $1,000. But if DJI can keep that price point down, then it's going to be incredibly popular. Subscribe to the channel for any updates on this and comment below if you've tried FPV, or if you haven't, are you interested? Give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you've got no interest in FPV at all. And of course, hit that subscribe button. Thanks very much for watching.